Hey guys, this is Surfer Maniac, and I'm going to put it on today my alister deck profile. There we go. Now, what can I reveal about this particular character from the arc? Alister was one of the main companions of the leading team of dartz, and he himself was recruited by dartz, and you might even say provoked by him into hatred and anger, and up to the point even to a grudge against the Kaiba corporation of Gozaburo Kaiba. Since he pretended himself to be to have killed his brother during a war, local war, which was taking place as he was a child, and which led to the imminent negative feelings which Alister, he himself, associated with the Kaiba corporation. So as a result of that, he had also possessed an ultimate grudge against Seto Kaiba himself, who then was, of course, the successor of Gozaburo after a power struggle for the leadership of the company. And then dartz recruited him for the orichalcos group, you might say, along with, of course, Raphael, who he also manipulated, and Valen, and then later on my Valentine, Rex Raptor, and Reavealing Underwood. And of course Gurimo, who also was part of the team. But Alister was one of the three, I would say, highest rated group members besides dartz himself, and one of the, of course, veteran ones who was there since the start of the rebirth of the orichalcos team. And I just want to add another fact that I won't presumably put down a Valen deck profile, because there's not even one, I think, card which exists from that specific character deck. So maybe, perhaps in the future, I will be buying the Oracle version, but until now I won't drop it for the time being, so you don't expect it. Now, about the baseline and outline of the foundations of the deck profile of Alister it is based solely on, or almost solely on, machine type monsters, which is not that surprising since he was haunted and did grow up in a war alongside with his brother in the old days, and then of course he associated, or it was the most impregnable part of his life, so that he built his deck around, of course, this very reminiscence, and so his deck is also telling a story, you might say. But without further ado, let's dive into it, and yeah, I'm very excited to do this one, of course. First card of alister. Not every card of alister is also existing, so I had to exchange one or two or a couple of them. For example, this one I put in there, which in the anime he had a monster card which was called Gorlak with 1000 attack stats, a fiend type monster and fire attribute. I exchanged it with Casimolar, which I did recently pull from the Photon Hypernova main set, first main set from this year, which is quite comparable as has 1000 in terms of attack stats, and also that's field type monster. And also, if you look on the artwork, it's like a shadow creature which can fly, and Gorlak also looked like a shadow creature which had wings and was a little bit red. Yeah, so it's comparable to that. So as a result of that, concluding, at first I put this one in there. Then I put in there Confusing Asmodean and Abaki, which also are two field type monsters with similar stats as Gorlak, but a little bit more. I think even Abaki has like 1700 attack points. But they also are, both of them are field type monsters and have the attribute of fire, which Gorlak also had, but Casimola doesn't have, for example. So I thought, okay, as an exchange for 3 times Gorlak, I put Casimola and these other two in there. Then, further on, of course, now the machine type monsters, I put in there the Cyber Commander, which OCG exclusive, of course. I did lack or miss in the Tristan deck, so here it is. I finally did find it. And then Cyber Soldier, a card which was, I think, in his deck list, and as I did research, as well as Machine Attacker, which a little bit looks like a card which now I will be putting up and is one of the 3 main monsters, or I would say 4 main monsters, which are very essential for this deck. And the very monster card I'm talking about is the Cyber Soldier of Darkness. I have it in here 3 times, as many spell cards and trap cards which doesn't recently exist in the TCG are outlined about this monster, as well as this monster. Kinetic Soldier, also put there 3 times in there. And last but not least, 3 times the Science Soldier. Now these 3 cards, and presumably another 4th, are very essential to this deck, and were his main monster cards which he placed his strategy upon. And of course there was a couple of spell and trap cards which had even the artwork of these 3 contained in it. So yeah, these were his most important ones. Then I put in there 2 times Overdrive. There was I think a monster existing which also was a tank, but it doesn't exist in the TCG, so I put this in there, along with Oni Tank T34 2 times also. Then a couple of cards which I did add, make out myself, you might say, as they have also this theme of and topic of the war machines, which is very, metaphorically speaking, for his own story that he carries with him all the time. One of them is Search Lightman. Can interpret this one as a search troop, haunting the innocent children, or for example, as Alister's brother were, or maybe for other troops of the enemy, for example, as well as search striker, which maybe would search for another enemy troops, or enemies in general. Then I think, I'm not sure whether he had this one, but I think it was on the deck list, cannon soldier, as well as cannon soldier MK2. Another card which I thought might be appropriate for this deck was Patrol Robo, as of course is a kind of machine guardian who probably you might project it that way, did guard the was made up entirely made the build up for the home guard of the troops of the opponent, or against the opponent. Then I put also in there the BM4 Blast Spider, as it is of course fights and wars going on. You might need machines like that also, as well as Infinite Track Brutal Dozer. I put it in there because also all the war measures and machine types were destroying their homes, so maybe this one would put the scrap then afterwards out of the way. Then another card which he had was Spell Counselor, which he played out against Seto Kaiba, I think, which has of course a very cunning and devious strong effect to negate all spell cards. You might say that it's the opposite card of Jinso, or from Magician's Force. And then instead of putting 3 times the Sky Fortress of Cigarette in there, it doesn't exist, but I did put in there, and the Sky Fortress of Cigarette would be a 4th significant card into this main tactics. I put in there Diabolical Machine Alpha, which has a similar effect as Cigarette, as it puts a token, a machine token, especially summon 1 machine token with 200 attack and 200 defense, especially summon an attack position on the end phase of every turn. It is comparable, of course, and the attack stats also. I think Cigarette had 3000, and this one has 2800, and also, of course, henceforth the name also was a criteria, which because I put this card in there, was a Flying Fortress Skyfire, which also has, not because just of the name, but also the artwork machine has weapons on it and pricked in it, with 3000 attack stats, which also is of course similar to Cigarettes in. And last but not least, Lord of the Sky Jail, or the Sky Fortress? I don't know how it is called in English, but yeah, it also on the artwork, in terms of artwork, it looks like similar to the Cigarette Sky Fortress, and has also the attack stat and as well as defense stats by 3000, so I thought these cards would also be fitting into this deck. All 3 of them are machine. No, almost, but not the 3rd one. This one is, I think, a rock type monster, but still the other ones are machine type monsters, so I thought it would be very logical to do it that way. Then these onto his monster cards, now onto his spell cards. I thought, and as he had of course also fiend type monsters in there, I put in there the Return of the Doomed. I'm not sure whether he played this card out or another one which looked similar, but yeah, this of course also very useful into this deck as well as in other decks. Then of course a staple Monster Reborn. Snatch Steal, I think he might have got the enemy controller, but I'm not sure, but yeah, as I'm not sure, I put this one in there as well, of course, as no, as well as the enemy controller himself also, yes. Then a couple of cards which are outlined about this machine topic. Autonomic Assault Troop, which works with special summoning one monster from the graveyard of your opponent. Machine Defense Line, which of course is very playable and skillful card for machine type based decks, as it, if you control a machine type monster with 7 stars or more, your opponent cannot attack machine type monsters with level 6 or lower from on your side of the field, and additionally they cannot be destroyed by card effects as well. And if on the condition that one or more machine type monsters which you control are destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can then put one machine type monster from your graveyard to your hand, which you can also use just once a turn, since this spell card is a continuous spell card. And I forgot also to mention that Snatch Steal is not, as well as the Autonomic Assault Troop, are equipped spell cards, and the enemy controller of course is a quick spell card. Then further on I have the machine type tank union, which works that way. Once per turn, if the machine type monster is destroyed by battle and put into the graveyard, you can destroy one machine type monster with the same attribute and few attack as a destroyed machine had that you put recently into the graveyard, and special summon it from the deck. Also a continuous spell card which works once per turn. The third continuous spell card in a row which I have is Machine Assembly Line, which you have to put it that way. All machine monsters on the field gain 200 attack each time a face-up machine monster on the field is destroyed by battle or a card effect. Place 2 junk counters on this card. You can send this card to the graveyard and target one machine monster in your graveyard whose level is less than or equal to the number of junk counters that were on this card, and then special summon that target. So it also fits with that effect which the Sky Fortress Cigarette had. Then, of course, and to pimp up the attack stats, increase them in your turn as well as in the opponent's turn, I put in there 2 times the limiter removal, which doubles, of course, the attack stats of all of your machine type monsters at once for a whole turn. Also put in there for the issue of increasing the attack stats from your machine type monsters, or monsters in general even. You can equip this Nitro Unity, which I already have in my hand, with a monster, and if that monster is destroyed and put into the graveyard, you can give your opponent battle damage equal to the attack of your own monster, which was recently put into the graveyard. Then also I have limit section B which also is a continuous spell card, and it has the function to change all open monsters on the field with level 4 or higher onto defense position. So if you, it's a good defensive measure if you like have an opponent board which is presumably on the attack mode. Then for draw power, I put in there Graceful Charity. I'm not sure whether he had possessed this one, whether he had possessed this one, or whether he, maybe it was Pot of Greed, but one of these two I think he did have. Then cost down, yeah, as a staple you might say to, of course, with 5 or more monsters which need a tribute is very appropriate also. Then the reserve troop, which of course if you receive damage as well as battle damage with 1000 or more, you can draw 1 card per 1000 points that you lose on damage. And I have break draw for more stalling, for more drawing power. And if you have machine type monsters that you engage in battle, of course, then you can equip this spell card to a machine type monster, and if it is destroyed by battle, then you can draw 1 card. Oh no, if it destroys a monster, then you can draw 1 card. And but this card just lasts for 3 turns after activation. Now, this is about his spell cards. Now, I'm very excited to present you the trap cards, of course. The trap cards which were played out in the enemy were backup soldier, and royal decree. Of course, backup soldier in order to put 5 of your normal monsters into the from the graveyard. And at least if you have 5 or more monsters, then you can put at least 3 non-effect monsters with 1500 attack or fewer from the graveyard and put into your hand. And then I thought, in the conclusion, that might be logical to give it a red reboot, which also works with electricity and machine and technique as a last resort. If you have if you are with the back onto the wall within the game, then you can play this out. It works that way. That if an opponent activates a trap card, you can negate it, and if you do set this card face down, then you can set another trap directly from your deck. For the rest of this turn, if this card resolves, your opponent cannot activate trap cards. You can activate this card from your hand by paying half your life points. So it's a very useful asset against any opponent. Then I put in there, and I thought it all, on the one hand, since on the background of the artwork as well as the effect itself, and it's also very popular in the recent meta game, is the destructive Dharma cannon 2 times. One from Darkwind Blast, and the other one is from the MP23 Tin Dueling Heroes. Yeah, and I also like it because I don't know if you might see it, but on the front is the Dharma cannon, which I presented to you recently from the Tristan, or not recently, but I did present to you in my Tristan deck profile, as you might check it up if you want. Then I put also in there pole position, which is a trap card which has the artwork of both overdrive, the overdrive tank, and also of the T-34 tank on it, which has the ability to, if you have an open monster with its highest attack on the, or all in general open monsters with highest attack stats on the field are unaffected by any spell cards. Yeah, and if pole position is removed from the field, then you can, or you have to destroy all monsters with the highest attack stats on the field. Then I have also a card which is very fitting and, yeah, from the just mindset, you might say, playing into that machine time topic, which is malfunction. If you have machine technique in general, then they might malfunction. So it's a good artwork also, and of course the sheer skill of negating a trap card by paying 500 life points, and then bringing it back to the position so it's not destroyed. But yeah, I thought it might be fitting also. Then I have damage serum alpha max, which works that way. If you receive damage to fight a battle or to a card effect, you get life points equal to that damage which you had. So it's, yeah, it's like a little Baboku, you might say, for just one attack or for damage, effect damage also. Then I have also air refuel, which also is appropriate to that ability which Cigarette had, which is if you play this card out, it is a continuous trap card, of course, also, as well as Royal Decree is in pole position also. And then you can, of course, special summon one machine type monster with the wing attribute, 3 level stars and attack 0 and defense 0. And this is a once per turn effect. So you have to tribute also 1 token per turn, or otherwise you have to destroy this card and put it into the graveyard. Yeah, so it might be very playable, but you have to have, of course, to have the ability, the possibility and option to tribute also one of the tokens. Then a card which I recently pulled out from the Chaos Impact, which has the effect, if you face up Earth Machine monsters, which you have many of them in the deck, I think the 3 main type monsters which I presented to you guys, they're all Earth type machine type monsters. So if you control them and they are destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target 1 card in the field, destroyed. You can banish this card from the graveyard and then set 1 of the 2 or 3 cards which are listed on here, trigger extension or spin turn from your deck or your graveyard. Yeah, the second effect you don't need in here, but yeah, the first one is very good, and it's also a continuous trap card, so yeah, it might be very helpful. The foremost last one, a security orb, which works with that. If your opponent monster declares an attack, change the battle position of that monster, and if this card face down is destroyed and sent to graveyard by the effect of spell trap card your opponent controls, destroy one monster on the field. So yeah, it has also this protective precaution possibility option. And then I also have limit region section A, which works that way, and as a pendant to the limit section B that I have, which changes all open level 3 or fewer monster into the attack position. So if you are on the defense, the other one would be better, and if you are on the attack, this one is more convenient. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hit the like, subscribe button, stay tuned for more content. Of course, I will putting up more and more of these character deck profiles. Next up is, I think, might be one of the good guys, but I don't know which one will be coming up. I will decide myself very spontaneously, as I did today. Yeah, and I have recently got a new camera, but the software, I didn't find the software yet onto the internet to install it and download it, on the purpose, of course, having a sharper view on the cards as well as other things in general. But to make a long story short, I'm working on it, and then you might have the news very soon coming that I finally succeeded in enforcing another better view. Okay, this was this. I hope you guys have a nice evening, and I wish you a very good day. Your Slaver Maniac. Bye!